All right, so we're going to work on lesson 11 today. It is, what day is it? Wednesday. What's the date?
27th.
Wednesday. Yep, January 27th, Wednesday. We're going to do lesson 11 today. We're going to talk about two new ideas. So get your highlighter ready. We're going to talk about what is absolute value and what is magnitude. You guys kind of already know about distance, so that's really not new. But it's going to be kind of part of how we learn about absolute value and magnitude. All right, so on the opening exercise, I'm going to give you a number, and I want you to mark that number on this number line. Ashlyn, mark this number on your number line. How many spaces away from 0 is -6? Derek? Is there any other number on this number line that's also 6 spaces away from 0, Taylor?
6.
Exactly right. Mark that as well. So what we've talked about in the past is that any number and its opposite are on opposite sides of 0, and they're the same distance away from 0. So we're going to add a new vocab word today that talks about being the same distance away from 0. And that word is absolute value. So here's what I can tell you. The absolute value of 10 is written like this. So you're going to take the number, whatever number it is, and then you're going to put sticks on either side. You're going to like draw little sticks. That's the symbol, that's the math way to write absolute value of 10. The words that go with it is the absolute value of 10. So that's how you say it in words, and that's what it looks like in math. So on the number line, count the number of units from 10 to 0. If we start here and we count over to 0, how many units did we move, Taylor?
10.
Exactly right. So here's the answer. The absolute value of 10 is 10. It means that that is 10 spaces away from 0. Excuse me. What other number is also 10 spaces away from 0? Caleb.
-10.
-10. And then it says why. Well, we say because it is 10 spaces away from 0. And right here is the definition. And we already put that in our math notebooks. So that's kind of the idea about absolute value. When you want to know the absolute value of something, really what you want to know is how far away from 0 is it? You want to know how to write it and what words you say when you read it. The absolute value of 10 is 10. Pretty simple, right? Let's look at a couple of questions here. Exercises 1 and 2. It says complete the following chart. So here's the number. What's the absolute value of this number? 6, because it's 6 spaces away from 0. What other number besides this has an absolute value of 6? Besides this number, what's the other one? Derek? Exactly right. -6 and +6 are both 6 spaces away from 0, which means they both have an absolute value of 6. How about this one? 8. What's the absolute value? How far away from 0 is 8, Mariana? 8 spaces away from 0. What other number is 8 spaces away from 0 besides +8? Parker? No, that is +8. What's the other one? Yep. And you can mark them both on the number line. They're both the same distance away from 0, which means they both have the same absolute value. Here's the last one. -1. How far away from 0 is this number, Brooklyn? Okay, and what other number besides -1 has the same absolute value? +1. And then we're going to put both of those on the number line. Yes.
It's supposed to go -6, and then it goes +6, and then -6.
No, because the way they set up the table is not very clear. What they want to know is what number and what's the other number that has the same absolute value. So you have to compare these two. -6 positive, +8, -8, -1, +1. It's just the way they set up the chart. I agree with you. I think it's a dumb way. But that's what they did. Okay, now we're going to talk about magnitude. So let me give you an example. Magnitude. I'm going to talk about a bank account. No, I'm going to talk about a debt. Say, for example, I put $15 in my bank account. Write that up there. And then I take out $500 from my bank account. I put in 15 and then I take out 500. Which of those numbers has the greatest impact on my bank account balance? Omari.
It is -5.
This one has the most impact. Even though 15 is positive and this is negative, this affects my bank account more. Does that make sense? This has the greatest magnitude. That's what we're going to talk about next. Magnitude. Mrs. Owens received a call from her bank because she had a checkbook balance of, oops, what was the magnitude of the amount overdrawn? How much overdrawn is she? Peyton, $45. We do not say -45 because then we would say she is -45 overdrawn and then I have two negatives. So if it says how much is she overdrawn, it's just $45. Here's what magnitude means, and we've already put that in our composition book too. Maria was sick with the flu, and her weight change as a result is represented by -4 pounds. That means she lost weight, right? How much weight did she lose? How much did she lose? She lost 4 pounds. You can't say she lost -4 pounds because that's two negatives, right? And we learned that in a different lesson. Did I tell you we're going to start algebra in a week? This is our last week of getting ready. This is all really good stuff. No, you're going to love it. Let's move on. Let's move on. Jeffrey owes his friend $5. How much is his debt? Parker. $5. Did you have a question for me?
Yeah, why is the abbreviation for pounds?
LB, I have no idea. Somebody can get 5 points of extra credit if they can figure out why this is the please don't talk, is the abbreviation for pound. Quaid.
Isn't it syllables?
I don't know. We'll find out. But not right now because we're doing a math lesson.
I'm pretty sure it's because syllables and pounds are the same way.
I don't know. You'll have to look. Find it out. Here we go. Google it later. Right now we're doing math. The elevation of Niagara Falls. Remember, elevation, elevators, right? Niagara Falls, which is located between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, is 326 feet. How far is this above sea level? Caleb.
326 feet above sea level.
326 feet. Very good. How far below zero is -16 degrees? And remember, we're not going to say -16 below. That's two negatives. How far below zero is that temperature? Derek? 16 degrees. Let's put Celsius in there just for giggles. Okay, here we go. Frank received a monthly statement for his college savings account. He listed a deposit of $100, which is a positive number, right? And a withdrawal of $25, which is negative 25. And the overall ending balance, $835.50. How much money did Frank add to his account that month? Aiden Miller. How much did he add to the account that month? Yep, he added $100. How much did he take out of his bank account that month, Omari?
Negative 25.
No, you can't take out negative 25. What number do I write? 25. How much did he take out? He took out 25. What's the total amount he has saved for college, Jackson? It's the total amount he's got now. And 50 cents. Meg's playing a card game with her friend Iona. The cards have positive and negative numbers printed on them. Highlight that important fact. Meg says the absolute value of the number on my card equals 8. What number's on her card? Brooklyn? If the absolute value is 8, what could be the number on her card? 8 or negative 8, exactly right. Because they both have an absolute value of 8. Jackson, gotta fix your face. All right, here we go. List a positive and negative number whose absolute value is greater than 3. I need one positive and one negative. The absolute value is greater than 3. Ashlyn? It's farther away from 0 than 3. Huh? No, farther away from there than 3. That's only 3 spaces away, right? It's farther away from 3 than 3. Dominic?
Negative 5.
-5 and +5. How many units are they away from 0, Ashlyn? 5. So that's more than 3, right? Any number where it's more than 3. Okay, here's the first tricky question of the day.
No, wait, there's 2 tricky questions.
The first tricky question of the day. Get your tricky brains out. Get your big brains out. Get ready.
I don't have a big brain.
Which of the following can be represented by the absolute value of 10? Check all that apply. So let me ask you 2 questions. Look at the first part. Which of the following can be represented by the absolute value of 10? What is the absolute value of 10, Caleb?
Absolute value of 10 is 10.
So we're looking for any numbers whose answer is 10. What does it mean when it says check all that apply? Taylor? It means there could be more than one, right? Maybe there's only one, but maybe there's more than one. All right, let's look at the first one. Ready? The temperature is 10 degrees below 0. Write this as an integer. What integer represents 10 degrees below 0? Dominic? -10. Is that the same as +10? No, it is not. That's a -10. We're looking for anything that equals 10. Determine the size of Harold's debt if he owes $10. What's his debt? What's his debt? Ashlyn, how much does he owe? He doesn't owe negative. Those are 2 negatives. How much does he owe? How much does he owe? Bella? He owes $10. Check mark. How far is negative 10 from 0 on the number line? How far away is that, Taylor?
10.
Check it off. There's another 10. How many, 10 degrees is how many degrees above 0, Brooklyn? 10. Check it off. Yes, sir.
How can it be the top one? Because it's absolute value is
Because it doesn't say the absolute value. It says write this as an integer. 10 degrees below 0, if I have to write an integer, I have to say it's negative 10. That's why it was tricky, because they stuck that in there. Julia used absolute value to find the distance between 0 and 6. And then she wrote something else to represent the distance between 0 and negative 6. Is she correct? Let's look. She wrote two things. First, she wrote this. The absolute value of 6 is 6. True or false? Then she wrote, the absolute value of negative 6 is negative 6. True or false? Exactly. Absolute value to represent the amount in dollars of that profit. What is the absolute value? How far away from 0 is that number? Aiden Miller. What's the absolute value of that number? How far away from 0 in a bank account would that be? It would be that is the absolute value. Go ahead and write that in. Tyler Wirt, this one's for you. Judy lost 15 pounds. Use the absolute value to represent how many pounds did she lose. She lost 15. In math class, Carl and Angela are debating about integers and absolute value. Carl said, 2 integers can have the same absolute value. And Angela said, 1 integer can have 2 absolute values. Who's right? So let's look at Carl first. Carl said, 2 integers can have the same absolute value. Yes or no? What do you think? Quade?
Yeah.
Give me an example.
Because negative 10 has an absolute value of 10. And positive 10 has an absolute value of 10.
Absolutely right. So Carl is correct. Let's look at what Angela said. She said 1 integer can have 2 absolute values. So here's 1 integer. Can that have 2 absolute values? The question is, how far away from 0 is that?
7.
Is there a second answer to that question?
No.
There's only one answer, right? So Angela is wrong. And here's another tricky one. This is my favorite one on the whole assignment today. Jamie told his math teacher, give me any absolute value, and I can tell you 2 numbers that have that same absolute value. Is he correct? For any given absolute value, will there always be 2 numbers that have the same absolute value? It's just a yes or no. No matter what the number is, will it always have 2 that have the same absolute value? Quade?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else want to agree or disagree? Omari?
Yes. So.
Dominic?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Brooklyn?
Yes.
No. Think about it. What only number, the only number that can only have one absolute value. There's only one in the whole entire universe. It's different from every other number. Derek? 0. What is the absolute value of 0? How far away from 0 is that?
Oh, it's hard.
Only one number. So, when we start algebra in a week, and they're asking you questions about, is this always true? Always check it against 0, because 0 is a weirdo. 0 acts different than every other number. No other number acts like 0 does. So whenever you have a question like that in general, always go, okay, well, does that work for 0 or not? All right, let's go. We're on the last page. Use a number line to show why a number and its opposite have the same absolute value. So somebody give me a number. Caleb?
I'm going to give you the number of 8.
Here's 8. What's the absolute value of 8? What's the difference between 0 and 8? How many spaces apart are they? Peyton? What other number is 8 spaces away from 0, Dominic?
-8.
These are both 8 spaces away from 0. A bank teller assisted 2 customers with transactions. One customer made a $25 withdrawal. The other made a $15 deposit. Which of those involved more money? Which of these involve more money? This one's negative, this one's positive. This one's 25, this one's 15. Aiden, which one? Exactly right. The $25 withdrawal involved more money, which means it has a greater, what was that word we talked about? Magnitude. Yes.
How does that work if you said that that's a negative?
Because what it wants to know is, like that story I said, so what if I put $10 in my bank account and then I took out $500? Right? Which one has the biggest impact on my bank account? Which of these 2 fractions, take a look, one's negative, one's positive. Which one has the greatest magnitude? Which one is farthest away from 0? Dominic.
Negative. -7. 3, 4.
Exactly right. That is exactly right. Okay, here's where we stop. Please tear off the back sheet. Look at your problem set. We are going to do 1 through 7. All of those problems, 1 through 7, plus 10. Listen carefully. You may put your answers on this sheet and hand it to me. I only want the back page. The rest of the packet goes in recycling. Or you may put your answers in Cami. Go. That is it for today.